Jason here, and in this week's episode, we're going to look at a conversation I had recently about forgiveness and how difficult that is, and 5 steps that we can take to begin to heal and find forgiveness in our life towards others and even for ourselves. So a couple weeks ago, I was sitting across the table from a friend, and they were talking about a situation where they were hurt deeply by someone they were really close to. And as they went on, I was like, man, I can't imagine that kind of pain in their particular instance, even though I had had hurtful moments in my life as well. And they said, I am never going to forgive this person. I was like, whoa, time out. You see, they're a believer and I'm a believer. And so I talked to them about this passage in the New Testament of the Bible in the book of Luke. It says, but I say to you who hear, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you. And well, to say this didn't set well would be an understatement with my friend. But as the longer we talked, the more we realized this is true, that not only do we need to love all people, but even the people who have hurt us, the people that we say, I would never forgive them, that would never happen, well, it needs to happen. And when we came away from that conversation, there were really 5 things that were helping them, and I was learning from too, that helped me understand how do we walk towards forgiveness in a healthy way. The first one is acknowledge the pain. They didn't want to talk about it, they wanted to push it down, but the more we push it down, the more that begins to fester, and it just gets bigger and bigger, and we can't find healing and even step towards forgiveness and moving in a healthy way until we acknowledge that it exists. The second thing is put yourself in the shoes of the offender. Not only have you been hurt, but I'm willing to bet that you've had moments, we all have, because we fall short, where we've hurt someone else. How did we feel when that happened? We were regretful. There were so many things that we wish we could take back. It wounded us that we had hurt someone, that we were watching their hurt. And so while this person may have done things maliciously or not, they've wounded you, but put yourself in their shoes for just a moment to understand a portion of what has happened. The third thing is remember that God forgave you and I. So when we're walking through all of this and we say, I'll never forgive anyone, God shares that we're forgiven as much as we forgive. And so if we want to be people that experience forgiveness by God, part of that is being able to say, you know what? I'm going to put my feelings aside. That doesn't mean I'm going to say what they did was okay, but I'm going to forgive them because I've fallen short plenty of times and hurt people and done things I regret. And I am thankful that God forgives me, and I want to do the same to others. The fourth thing is continue to forgive. That wound was deep. It was difficult. You're going to have moments where it pops back up and you're just going to be, and you'll get angry. To stop and say, you know what? I put that in the past. I've forgiven them. I am moving on. And the fifth thing is pray for the one who hurt you. And I think this is the most difficult. The one where we say, you know what? I can't forgive anyone. I can't love anyone that I'm not willing to pray for. And so if I need to sit down and muster up the strength and courage by God to pray for that person, to pray, I may not be able to reach out and talk to them, or it might not be safe. Say, God, I forgive them. God, will you help me to understand why they did what they did? God, will you help me to have the strength to love them even through this? And God, I want to pray that you will bring healing and forgiveness in their life. And when you start walking through these things, when we start practicing these things, we start to find a different movement in our lives that frees us from being shackled to the pain and the hurt that was happening before. You see, we're called to love our enemies, love the ones who have hurt us, do good to those who hate you. Maybe the best place to start are the very people that we say we would never forgive. Man, I'll be praying for you. My hope is that you'll write some of these down, that you'll practice these, put these someplace where you can see them, and share in the comments. Like this video, comment on this video, share with us how you are forgiving others and how your journey has been with forgiveness. And we can't wait to see you next week.